So this is how most mornings begin. Welcome to episode number 4 of the Diaries of a Dull Dad. And I know I had said I was going to give you a day in the life in terms of food, a day in the life, a food day in the life. But there's a couple of reasons that I'm not going to do that. Primary reasons are because I'm absolutely hopeless at remembering to film myself making and taking pictures of food before I've absolutely scoffed it all down. But also because some changes have been made to the diet this week. So I thought rather than doing it and then the changes come in, changes have happened. So what I will endeavour to do ready for next week is record myself making the food. So whether we do it rest day, whether we do it training day, I'll potentially do a couple of different videos, one for each, and then just talk you through those. But just as a little bit of an update. So physique shots are here. Seen a little bit of movement this week, so about £1.5 pound down on average on the scales. So again, when we're looking at those average changes, I jump on the scales every single day. Naturally, there are some ups and downs, but we're looking for that trend over time. So we have seen about £1.5 pound come off on average this week, but we're wanting things to move a little bit faster. For me, I said from the very beginning, like I like to take a more aggressive approach to things. I'd rather get my fat loss done and get out again. So just ramping things up now. So, from that start point of 186 pounds, I've seen 180 again this week. But yeah, I'd really like to get that below that, dip into those high 170s in this coming week. Just really see things push on again. So changes have been made, 200 calories off each day, which is just 50 grams of carbs, straight out of training days and straight out of rest days. So I will talk you through all of that in terms of the food in another video, in terms of the total calories and macros that I'm now following, but also like how I break those down into my meals during the day, just in case that gives you a little bit of an idea as to how that works. So instead, what we're going to chat about today is something that I mentioned in, I think it was the first video where I said I would let you into a little bit more about why the series has been called Diaries of a Dull Dad, despite the fact that I don't think I'm all that dull a person. You are welcome to disagree. Feel free to comment dull if you think that is the case. But I was an accountant for many, many, many years. So just to give you a bit of background as to like where I've come into fitness, where I've come into coaching. So I've always been a really active and sporty kid. I played football to a really, really good level when I was younger. I was on Ipswich Town School of Excellence's books and, very, very much thought that was going to be my path. It was something that I just absolutely loved and couldn't get enough of. But unfortunately, it wasn't to be. I got injured. I ruptured my ACL. For anyone who's had fairly serious injuries as footballers go, that one is potentially career ending even for the pros. It's one of the ones that takes absolutely ages for professional footballers to come back from. I wasn't even in those professional football surroundings, so I wasn't getting like the best treatment, the fastest treatment. I had to wait about 18 months for the first lot of surgery, which was just keyhole that really just went in and said, yep, you've definitely ruptured this. And then another 12 to 18 months to actually have the reconstructive surgery done. So all of that time, I was spent just, with a knee that wasn't really playing ball, certainly wasn't letting me play football. But my introduction to the gym came as part of that rehab. So had that reconstructive surgery. And yeah, that got me into the gym to build all of the musculature around that joint, and just make sure that I was doing what I needed to do to rebuild the strength there. There were potential ideas that maybe I'd get back into football, but again, it just wasn't really to be. I tried playing a few times after I'd had that surgery and after I'd done all my rehab, and it just wasn't the same. So for me, unfortunately, that was the end of those days. But I left school, so professional football career in tatters. um, to be honest, it had been tatters for a while, and I left school and went into accounting. So I knew from the very, very sort of early days that I never wanted to get in debt. So university to me just didn't appeal. Like I was really keen to get on the property market. I was really keen to get myself in a really, really good spot from that point of view. And so for me, going into work was something that I knew was going to happen. And I sort of fell into accountancy in some ways. I was quite good at maths at school. My dad is a former maths teacher. That's what he did pretty much his entire career. And accounting seemed like the logical thing to go into with that enjoyment for maths. Got into it and realized it wasn't too much maths. There's a lot of logical thinking, but it is considered to be one of the most boring professions I think anyone can get into. So hence the dull dad title. So yeah, I went through my career as an accountant, and I spent best part of 15 years doing that, like working my way up that corporate ladder, getting promotion after promotion, doing well in that field and being good at my job. But it just never really gave me that sense of, I guess it never really gave me that sense of satisfaction. And throughout that entire time, I was in the gym. I was continuing to like love everything I was doing there. I would, started sort of coaching people indirectly just because, people would see me in there and they'd ask like what I was doing and like, what they should be doing. So I built up this, I guess, this little bit of an unofficial, sort of go-to status for my friends in terms of what they should do in the gym, what they should do with their diets. Started to take things a little bit more seriously myself. Probably 6 or 7 years ago now, I would say, when I got my first coach. And I actually had a couple of terrible coaches at the very, very beginning of that journey. So, a couple of people who had been recommended to me by people I knew and were genuinely hopeless, like just took forever to get back to anything. One of them in particular, I think it took him about 2 months to even get my plan set up and sent over to me. And just checking replies were slow. It just took days and days and days. And just what weren't good experiences, and it almost put me off. But thankfully, I then found a very, very good coach, and I was with him for the next 4 or 5 years. He helped me, get in shape for my first photo shoot. He helped me get to the point where I could see my abs for the first time. We went through growth phases. We went through photo shoot preps. He was very much like that mentor to me, and really sort of helped me from a mental point of view as well. I was going through some stuff, and I think I needed someone there at that time. I needed that bit of sort of change to happen, and he was very encouraging of me going down this coaching path. So while I was still working, I got my PT qualifications. I went on and did nutrition qualifications, and got to a point from my finance career where I was just ready to go. A lot of stuff aligned, so I was offered redundancy. Again, a lot of stuff happened in that employment that all got a bit messy, and I don't think they really wanted me to leave. But the redundancy was put in front of me, and it just timing was just right. In a situation as well where Lara and I were still living in separate countries, and so for our relationship to move forward, somebody was going to have to make that move. She was very much set up here in France, and I was ready to do something different. So it just made sense for me to take that redundancy, to leave that employment, and to move my life to France. So yeah, everything happened at once. I don't tend to do things by halves. So I remember actually the month that I moved to France, I was preparing for my first photo shoot, getting ready to move to another country where I didn't speak the language very well, had my house to rent out at the time. Like all of this stuff was going on, and you just get on with it because you have to. And also, trying to like launch a coaching business and put myself out there in the world is something completely different to what everyone knew me as. Everyone knew me as the accountant, and And that from the outside in looked fantastic. You know, I had a house, I had a nice car, I was going on holidays, I had, you know, a girlfriend in another country. Like, all of these things look great from the outside, but deep down, I knew that something had to change, and that I wanted more. So yeah, left the finance world, which seems like a long time ago now. I think I left that world in 2018, so 7 years ago, almost 7 years ago to the day. I think it was probably the end of March 2018, I think, that I left that world. And it then took me a year to like put everything in place, and I moved to France in 2019. um, and yeah, the coaching business has obviously been you know, building and growing since then. And you know, I've been fortunate to work with some amazing people. I've, you know, got people ready for shoots. I've got someone stepping on stage for the first time this year, and just generally like loving what I do in helping people rediscover themselves a lot of the time. You know, I work with a lot of parents who, you become a parent, and parent, you know, mum or dad is the title that you have, and everything else seems to just fall to the wayside. Like, you're working, you're busy as a parent, your own stuff, you know, takes a little bit of a back seat. And a lot of those that I work with are in that situation now, where they're looking for that something to give themselves back. You know, they want to be fitter, healthier, stronger. They want to set great examples for their children. They want to feel good for themselves, and that's such an amazing thing to be part of. So yeah, very fortunate to be in that situation. And a lot of them actually start with my Benefit Blitz, which, another shameless plug, because the next one starts on April the 7th. You've got until March the 30th is the last and final deadline to get signed up. So a little bit of time yet. If it's something that you want to know more about, either head over to my socials. There's lots of information going on there at the moment, but also please feel free to send me a message, pop a comment below, or yeah, feel free to send me a message. ben@benhowardfitness.com is the email address, or you can find me at Ben Howard Fitness, all one word, on pretty much any social media platform. Yeah, always welcome to send me a message and have a little chat about that. So the Benefit Blitz, 6 weeks of fat loss fun, prizes to be won. Yeah, that sounds like a game show. Sounds like Funhouse, but it's not Funhouse. You're not going to get covered in gunk, unless you want to, of course, which is entirely up to you. But anyway, I hope that gives you just a little bit more background about me, about who I am, about, you know, how I found myself in this coaching space. I haven't necessarily taken the most traditional route in. You know, I've had a life and a career beforehand, but I also think that makes me quite uniquely qualified, experienced to help people, because I get it. You know, I get the demands of corporate life. I understand how busy things can get, and trying to fit everything around that, which isn't always easy, but can definitely be done with the right approach. So if you are struggling a little bit, if it's something that you're just not too sure about, and you just want to have a conversation, you know, I will do that for anyone and everyone. We'll have a chat, and even if you leave that chat just taking away a few little ideas, and we never ever work together, that's great. You know, you've gone away with some really useful knowledge that you've been able to put into practice, and get yourself looking, feeling, and just being a better individual as a result. Should you want to decide to sign up, of course, I'd absolutely love that as well. And as I say, just a reminder that Benefit Blitz does start on April the 7th, and you've got about a week and a half to get signed up. So yeah, let me know, send me a message, and we can have a good chat. But hope this has been an enjoyable one. I will be back next week with hopefully a day in an eating day in the life. They're not even called that, are they? What are they called? Full day of eating. That's what people call them. Hopefully I'll be back with a full day of eating for you to enjoy. So watch this space. But have a fantastic rest of your week, and we'll catch up soon.